I'm Noha Nasser. I'm Director of MELA Social Enterprise. I'm an architect and I've had a long career in academia, and I'm passionate about understanding people's experience of cultural diversity in the city and how we can support people in really finding the best, most creative way of living together.
Hi, I'm Jenny. So my background is in the arts, and I've worked in communities for local authorities in the arts and for the Arts Council, so I've been involved in funding. And I've also got training in urban design. Did an urban design MA, and Noha is my director. And since then, I work as a freelance practitioner. I work on projects just on my own, really bringing people together, bringing lots of different people together to find out more about a place and more about how it works, and feeding that into often a bigger project. But also I'm a director of an arts and health organisation called Creative Health, where my role in that is really looking at well-being and the environment. And I'm about to start a PhD, which is bringing all those things together really, and looking at what creates attachments, how attachments to place are constructed, and what brings on that sense of belonging. So that's my interest.
Patrick. I've worked in quite a few different jobs, but I've always had like a side business going on, so my real interest is in business. And I've been working with social enterprise pioneers of the new generation, which really aims to remove negative illusions that a lot of young people hold and empower them through that.
Okay, so my name is Esther Orchard. I've worked for many years sort of in and around listening to children and young people, also thinking about children and young people's well-being, and that's kind of grown into looking at the wider community and also thinking about how people interact in the places that they live and how they feel attached to that. So I'm interested in how we can give platforms for people to have a voice, and that may be through policy or decision making, but it also may be through creative and performing arts and using the stage or using film and other media processes to do that.
My name's Juliet Bidgood, and I'm trained as an architect originally, but I've always found that practice quite narrow and difficult to enact actually, and so probably that's why I became more interested in urban design and sort of where architecture and urban design cross over into other disciplines, which is what's really exciting about working with MELA, because of the range of disciplines that are engaged in MELA. It's brilliant. And because the thing I'm kind of interested in is the research-based practice, but also in sort of how small-scale things like what everyday life is like sort of translate into bigger scale events, let's say. And so some of the projects I've done are really little, just like a bridge that doubles the size of a playing field for a school, or a map that gives young people a network of youth clubs rather than just one that they can go to, and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
I'm Phil Wood. I'm an urban therapist. I spent the first half of my career working in my hometown as a community development worker. So I'm very interested in how places cope with massive change, like loss of all the industry, and how a place and a community recreates a new and positive identity rather than living in a sense of loss or denial for what has gone and what has been lost. More recently, I've worked all over the world, particularly around the idea of change through migration and diversity. I wrote a book called The Intercultural City, and that's now become a model that I work with the Council of Europe, particularly working with mayors and local communities to look at how we can see diversity as a positive advantage for communities, particularly communities that have been told by the outside world that they are in some ways lacking or suffering some kind of problem that the rest of society doesn't have. So I'm very much about working with community groups to really believe in themselves, but also trying to help them to get their hands on some of the language and the levers of power that enables them to change the mindsets of politicians and experts.
Well, I make films and I really enjoy going into a community with a camera and just seeing what I find. So having a chat to people, all sorts of people. Sometimes it's not even a chat, sometimes it's just you're asking them a quick question or hanging out with them, or sometimes I'll take out my camera, sometimes I won't. I really enjoy kind of finding out about the space where they live and how they feel about certain things within their community, with themselves, what makes them happy, what they dream about, what they hate. So there's all these kind of questions about everyday life that I really enjoy finding out about. And it's not just about making films, it's really about listening to people. And I think the making films comes because then you give people a voice.